Well, that's a first. Totally forgot what I was doing today. Good thing I came to check on what was going on. Let me get the music going and we can jump right into this because it's been a day. Alright, let's see here. D&D stuff. Gotta go to my music. And then throw on... Nope, not that one. We're going to throw on the Forest of Fear, which is what I use. Okay, there we go. So that's that. That's taken care of. We are looking at that. Got all those taken care of. Okay. Probably the fastest I've ever had to throw this together. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Okay. That's what I need. I need the live scene. There we go. And I'm doing good. It's, like I said, just been kind of all over the place. We had a delivery for a piece of furniture today that got all screwed all over the place because of a wrong phone number, and then had to go out and trim the hedges around the property and whatnot. It's been a good day. It's a different day, but a long day. So yeah, let's see here. One last thing I need to grab and update, and then we can get right into this. Okay. Right. 1395. Okay. So just updating the watch count. It's thankfully been... I think I said 95, right? Thankfully, the watch time has been going up because of the live streams I've been doing, which has been great. The Monster vs. Monster live streams have been really important. They've been really bringing in some more engagement. And the UONT live stream has been doing really well versus the Lizard Folk. I think we're almost at like 300 views for that. And for a live stream, that's really good for the channel. So... I'm going to be doing more of those. It's just trying to figure out when I'm going to fit it in once July starts. I'm thinking I might stick to Mondays after I get home from work. Yeah, they're doing the best so far. Let me go to the studio real quick and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at here. So if we go to the live content and we look at views, it should give me like everything going on right now. Yeah, we're over 300 views for the UONT versus Lizard Folk, with the Devils versus Demons at a little over 200. And then Vecna, the Vecna live stream, has gotten the most for this particular type of live stream. And then Orcs and Kobolds with Bandits and Ogres trailing. And actually, surprisingly enough, my the player character levels to Monster CR is doing really well too, with 175 views. Now, that's not to say that the video itself is doing really well. If we were to look at the analytics here, we'll have a general trend of... Oh, no, I don't have the audience retention yet. So let's go to something else. So for instance, the UONT versus Lizard Folk, the audience retention is the big one here. And yeah, this is typical for the videos. It's just like plummets, and then, you know, very few people make it all the way to the end. I mean, 6 to 4% of the people that watched. So on average, there is almost 8 minutes of the video being watched, but for some reason, you know, there's enough people that have watched it to give me 25.6 hours of watch time, which is pretty cool. Hello there, my favorite songs TV. Your TikToks have helped me out so much. I subbed after I asked for your channel. Thanks so much. CR goes over my head. Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for joining the live stream. I just wanted to share a little bit about these live streams and the couple different versions I've been doing. Especially the most recent one from yesterday, which was turning player characters into monster CRs. Okay, so let us get into this. Let me just double check on the chat here. Thank you, Clawpaw. And Clorox, I think the Gith versus Illithid may do better. Just make sure to title it Mind Flayers and not Illithids. Most likely won't reach the species name as compared to the title. Oh, for sure, yeah. It would definitely be Mind Flayers versus Gith, whatever. Gith Yankee, Gith Sarai, or just Gith in general if I use both of them together. Because like I always say, what is it? The enemy of my enemy is my friend, temporarily at least. Anyways, let me grab those requests from the Discord channel and or the server, I should say, and we'll jump right into this. So it looks like we have the Sebrix the Conqueror here, which is a large aberration mind flayer. Speaking of mind flayers, so let me go ahead and pop that into its own screen, which will be excellent. Oops, there we go. And throw that into a small window. And here we go. Okay. All right. And yeah, let's take a look at this Sebrix the Conqueror, the custom monster by Clorox. Okay. We have a total AC of 24. So we got that going on here. It is a large aberration, so a little bit bigger than our typical Mind Flayer, which is interesting and cool to see. And then we have a total of 60 D10 hit dice. Pretty impressive right there. I like to think of the D10s as potentially, or the hit dice as a way to gauge the player level. So in theory, this is a level 60 Mind Flayer, possibly. I don't really know if that's exactly the way we could look at it, but it could be something fun. 24 for the Constitution. I'm just going to put that one in because we don't really need to worry about the rest of the stats unless I need to make adjustments for attacks or whatever. So we'll skip over that and just keep the Constitution because that's the most important. This should be a CR 30. Oh, chunky boy, just as Clawpaw was saying in the Discord as well. And speaking of the Discord, in case anyone watching would like to join within a couple days here, I will throw that into the chat channel here, so you can join up if you'd like. Join the Discord or don't. There you go. So I'll pin that, and anyone that would like to join the Discord can do so. Let's see here. So Clorox, he has conquered thousands of worlds in my canon setting. He kinda bonkers. Sounds like it. We'll see what happens. Okay. Continuing on, we have, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 saves for the saving throws. So that will give us a +2 AC bonus there. We have some skills, we don't care. We have 1 damage resistance, we don't care about that one, but we do have a bunch of damage immunities. And we have Psychic, Bludgeoning, Piercing, and Slashing from non-magical attacks. So we'll go ahead and pop in immunities, giving us an extra 25% hit points. And then, yes, please, Pumpkin, go take a nap. He's been pacing around the office here and giving me, slightly distracting me. Okay. So, we have Psionic Retaliation. Whenever a creature hits Sebrix with an attack, the attacker takes 14 psychic damage. And that's an even 14 because we have an even set of dice here. Because of that, we will take the Heated Body trait, throw that in there, and just pop in 14. So we are guaranteed, generally speaking, we'll have 1 melee person, and we will generally always see that extra 14 average damage. So we'll just pop that in and good to go. That will be added on at the end and will technically be seen as every round of combat. After that, we have Telekinetic Strike. Whenever Sebrix hits a target with a melee weapon attack, he deals an extra 26 force damage and the target is pushed back 10 feet, falling prone. Okay, so we have that once per turn. We can also add that in. We could add that into the Heated Body if we wanted to, but I have this special section down here. So we'll go ahead and throw in Telekinetic Strike down here as well, so we don't have to worry about remembering that. And that will be added in every round of combat. After that, we have Otherworldly Resilience. When Sebrix fails a saving throw, he can choose to succeed instead. Whenever succeeding a saving throw, in this manner he regains 2 legendary actions at the start of his next turn. Curious. Okay, so how are we working that out? Whenever Sebrix succeeds on a saving throw in this manner, he regains 2 legendary actions. I would say we probably don't have to worry about calculating that in, because we don't know if he's going to need to do a saving throw or not. And then on top of that, he may not need to regain any legendary actions. So for the time being, I'm going to say we'll probably skip over this one. Now, it shuts up when the DM starts naming force damage. Yeah, that's true. Otherworldly Physiology. Sebrix's anatomy and bodily functions are advanced and alien compared to normal creatures. He grants him the following: Magical Resilience, so we know that one. Well, actually, let's see here. Advantage on spells and spell effects, magical abilities. So Magic Resistance, same thing, +2 effective AC there. Okay, and then we have Transcendental Strikes. Whenever Sebrix deals damage other than Psychic or Force, he can choose to deal Psychic or Force damage instead. Nice. And Non-Euclidean. The space in a 10-foot range around Sebrix is considered difficult terrain, so we don't have to worry about any of those besides the magical resilience, which is the same as magic resistance. Okay, so we can move on here to the actions, and we've got a whole bunch, which is fun to see, and it looks like your Clorox is following the new pattern for spellcasting, which is fantastic to see. A lot of spells generally should be control spells more than damage dealing spells, as the damage dealing spells should be actions up here now that are non-spell casting related, but still can throw in like a fireball or a chain lightning or whatever if need be. We also have bonus action, reaction, and some legendary actions, so we will get down to that in a moment. Alright, so we have multi-attack. Sebrix makes 4 attacks. Other than with Extract Brain, Sebrix can replace 2 of those attacks with the Telekinetic Grasp or Mind-Breaking Slam if available. Fun. Alright, so let's go ahead and throw these in and see what we have. Alright, so 4 small. 17 to hit, 15 on the Extract Brain, 17 as well for the Telekinetic Blast. And just so I can make sure what's going on here, Telekinetic Grasp is this one here, and the Mind-Breaking Slam, which is on recharge. Okay. So everything more or less is 17, 17, and a 15. So I'm just going to put in a 17, as that will be happening more often as an attack. Okay, 4 small. We have a 22 to hit initially, and then we also have 11 psychic damage. So that's a simple 33 there. And then after that, there's a strength save or be knocked back 50 feet, landing prone. Helpful, but I always ignore prone condition because generally by the time the creature either moves to the prone creature or it's the creature's turn, they can stand up for half their movement. And, there's really no reason to bother with prone, to be honest. After that, we have Extract Brain, plus 15 to hit. One target, 63 slashing damage. If the damage deals, if the damage dealt reduces the target to 0, it dies and Sebrix regains 50 hit points. Okay. Let's see here. Do abilities that need to recharge affect the end result? Yes, my favorite songs TV, they do. So for instance, with the Mind-Breaking Slam, this recharges on a 5 to 6. That is basically a 1 out of 3 chances of it recharging. So when I see something like that, I only calculate it for 1 of 3 rounds of combat, because D&D for 5e suggests combat really shouldn't last more than 3 rounds. And depending on the setup for the encounter, on average, encounters should last between 2 to 4. So 3 is the kind of sweet spot here. If Mind-Breaking Slam was a recharge of only 6, then I would only expect it 1 out of 6 rounds of combat, and I would calculate it for 1 of those 3 rounds. But then in theory, mathematically speaking, we shouldn't see it until round 7 if that were to happen. And if that's the case, something that recharges on a 6 should be very, very damage dealing, something heavy in damage, where a 5 to 6 and a 33% chance to recharge should be a slightly more powerful version than some of the combined multi-attacks going on here. So as we'll see, Mind-Breaking Slam should be more powerful than the multi-attack in most cases. I've seen maybe one monster that was less than that. Extract Brain should be 17, just forgot to adjust. That's cool. Okay, so then everything will be 17. Perfect. Okay, so Extract Brain will be a total of 63 points of damage, and we will probably only see that by the 3rd round for the extra hit points regained back from devouring the brain, as I've done before, because of the whole setup. Generally speaking, if somehow a player is killable by round 2, I'd be impressed or surprised. But since this is a CR 30, and more than likely it's going to be CR or player levels 17 to 20 that are going to be going up against this thing, I wouldn't expect a player to be killable until round 3. But who knows? Your results may vary for sure. So 63 damage there for the Extract Brain, and as I said before, I will take 1 round of the 3 for the 50 hit points to get an even rating there. So what I'm going to do here up in the formula section is round down 50 divided by 3 to give us 16 effective hit points. So this is considering, or in theory, that the 50 hit points from that 3rd round of damage will come from 16 hit points gained every round effectively by the time a player is potentially killed with the extract brain. So that's just how you work that out there. If you have one thing that works out, it works itself out in 1 round of combat, you'll divide it by 3. If it works for 2 rounds of combat, you divide it by 2, and then of course if it's all 3 rounds of combat that you can do it, then you just take the straight number like we've done with the one telekinetic strike here, and then the psionic retaliation. We're expecting to see those every round of combat. Next up, we have telekinetic blast, melee or ranged weapon attack. So this is kind of what I was talking about here. This is a perfect spell-like ability that could have been a spell down here in the spell casting, and we're using it here as either melee or ranged, which is really cool to see. And so for telekinetic blast, we are dealing 30 points of damage, and if the target is huge or smaller, it's pushed or pulled 10 feet towards or away from Sebrix, his choice. Okay, so that doesn't make too much of a difference unless we are looking to extract the brain. Then we have telekinetic grasp. Sebrix lashes out with his telekinetic powers at each creature of his choice that he's aware of, 60 feet. Each creature in the area makes a DC 25 strength saving throw, taking 30 force damage and becoming grappled and restrained. While grappled, and restrained in this manner, an affected creature loses 13 hit points at the start of each of its turns as it begins to suffocate. If an affected creature is reduced to 0 by this loss of hit points, it dies. Okay, so with something like this where the creature is taking damage at the start of each of its turns, the secondary feature is very similar to the swallow ability. That, big creatures like the purple worm, I believe, can swallow a creature whole. So with the swallow, we would only expect 2 rounds of damage to this here. And with swallow, if I put this in here, just gotta check my notes, only put damage based on the number of targets being swallowed, generally 1 or 2 max. Example, 21 swallow damage, input 21 for 1 or 42 for 2. Okay, so the chart here will do the rest of the calculations for me on that. And since we are, let's see here, each creature within range, we are expecting probably 2. So we'll take that 13 and multiply it by 2 for a total of 26 total damage possible here. And that will give us an extra 34 DPR for the 2 creatures for the 2 rounds of successive damage, or succinct, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but the amount of damage that's coming after sequential damage, I think that's what I'm looking for, coming after the first round of damage from this telekinetic grasp. And then on top of that, we will also be adding in the initial 30 damage to 2 failed saves worth of damage, and that goes for 4 targets that pass, 1 target that fails, and 2 targets that pass, or 2 targets that fail. So there's a combination here of 2 failed saves worth of damage, and that will just be 30 times 2 there for 60. Okay, so that's telekinetic grasp, which is a fun one, and that's a lot of damage, as also with the extract brain, but the extract brain, you can only do that by itself. So then we have spellcasting here, and we have Booming Blade for 48. I'm not going to bother with that since it's not needed right now. We have Command, Detect Thoughts, Dimension Door, Dominate Monster, Levitate, Feeble Mind, which that one is probably worth looking into. If the effective DPR for Feeble Mind is higher than some of the other ones, I might use that one. Mass Suggestion, Plane Shift, Reality Break, Blade of Disaster, Psychic Scream, Ravenous Void, and Time Stop. Okay, so some of these ones at once per day could be pretty beefy. Let's see, what do we have going on here? I gotta do something real quick because I don't think it's up. I gotta do my WAMP server so I can run something in the background. Give me a moment. Okay. So let's see here. Blade of Disaster. Okay, that is a spell, and that is 9th level spell. Okay. So let's take a look at that one here. Oh, we have Blade of Disaster, or if it crits. Okay, so that's one of these deals. So we have 52 DPR for Blade of Disaster, which is very powerful. And if it crits, oh, let's see here. As a note, his Blade of Disaster requires an action to cast initially, but then acts as normal as the normal spell. Okay. Oh, okay. So he'd have to use it as a actual action first, and then can be done as a bonus action. And if it crits, then it's worth 156 DPR. Curious. So Blade of Disaster is probably going to be one I would want to throw in there. So I'll throw that here because that is a lot of damage. Psychic Scream. Where is that one hiding? That's another spell, level 9 as well. Okay. There we go. Psychic Scream. That one is worth 98 DPR. Okay. So that one is definitely going to get used. Ravenous Void. Are we looking... Okay. 55 DPR. Takes concentration. That one could be handy to set up if we're looking just to straight up murder. Let me look that one up on the side here. Okay, Ravenous Void on the side. Concentration, 1 action. Creature starts its turn within 100 feet of the sphere, must make a strength save or be pulled straight towards the sphere, ending in an unoccupied space as close as possible. Okay, so at the start of its turn, it takes 5d10 force damage and is restrained until it no longer is. It is no longer in the sphere. If the sphere is in the air, the restrained creature. Okay. All right, so that's a fascinating one. That one could be useful. And then Time Stop. I think that's another level 9 spell, sure enough. Okay, what do we got for Time Stop? Time Stop is 82 effective DPR. Doesn't take concentration. And Time Stop, you briefly stop the flow of time for everyone but yourself. No time passes. And while you take 1d... Oh, okay, yeah, so this one. Oh, boy. All right. During which you can use your action and move as normal. The spell ends if you action... yeah, right. So Time Stop is... I would use that just as the 82 effective DPR here because you're stopping time and then possibly setting up for other spells. But they can't be anything that does damage. So that's the interesting part. In theory, you could set up a Ravenous Void with Time Stop and possibly do a couple other things. So what we're going to do for now is, because there's so many spells going on here that could add extra damage, I'm going to skip the spells for the time being and see what we get after the fact. So we'll come back to the spells if we need to, and we'll just go with raw damage here from the actions and abilities. So with Mind Breaking Slam, we will say... Sebrix funnels psionic energy into one massive slam of his maul and sends out a massive line that is 120 feet long, 20 foot wide. Okay, so far, yeah, dimension. Each creature that's in the affected area makes an intelligence save and a dex save. On a failed intelligence saving throw, an affected creature takes 36 damage. Okay, Time Stop is an escape plan. Time Stop, then plane shift out of there. Perfect. That is what I was kind of expecting, because a lot of the other spells, besides maybe Mass Suggestion, well, you could... Well, I don't know. Levitate is tricky because it does affect the target. Anyways. So yeah, 36 psychic damage and is stunned at the end of the next turn. On a failed save, or half as much on a normal one. On a dexterity saving throw, the creature takes another 36 damage from force damage and falls into the fissure, landing prone. Okay. So we have 2 things going on here. We can do a total of... we'll throw that right here. What is it? 36 times 2 times 2 again. So we're looking at 144 damage for the Mind Breaking Slam. And then we also have the stunned condition, and we have prone. I'm not too worried about prone, and stun is only 1 round, I believe it was. So it's almost not even worth throwing in because it's only 9 effective hit points, and because this creature is already so massive in its CR 30, it's kind of pointless to add in that little bit of extra effective hit points. So I'm not too worried about that. I'll leave that as it is for now, but let's see what we get for the multi-attack here. So the multi-attack was 4 attacks other than the Extract Brain, and we can replace 2 attacks with Telekinetic Grasp or Mind-Breaking Slam if available. Wow, okay. So the easiest way to do this would be to, let's see here. First multi-attack would be the Mind-Breaking Slam, and then we would do, what would be next? Telekinetic Grasp, maybe? No, we would do 2 of the Force Mauls, because that would give us just a little bit more damage, or 2 Telekinetic Blasts, which is the same as the Grasp. So the Blast and the Grasp are basically the same if we use those in conjunction in the multi-attack. But the biggest value will be the Maul and timesing that by 2. So we get 210 damage for that. After that, if the Mind-Breaking Slam is not ready, we could then decide how we want to go from there. And basically everything's going to work out to be 120 damage depending on which route we go. You know, we could do 4 telekinetic blasts, 4 Force Mauls, a telekinetic grasp and 2 blasts, or 2 Force Mauls. It's all going to be roughly the same. But just for the sake of grabbing what's going to do the most damage, we would take the Force Maul and multiply it by 4. That's in theory if we were able to do that, but because they push creatures back 50 feet, you could switch it up with a telekinetic blast after that and get roughly the same amount of damage. You know, we're only looking at a difference of 12, depending on which multi-attack we're using here. Okay, moving on, we have the bonus action of Collapse Space, and Sebrix collapses reality around itself to teleport to an unoccupied space within 60 feet of him. Each creature within 10 feet of the space Sebrix arrives in takes 11 force damage and is pushed 10 feet backwards. Fun. Okay, so this is similar to Vecna, and we want to actually be close to creatures to push them away and deal damage. So that's another, let's see here. In theory, we would be probably at max hitting 2 creatures. So I'm only going to put in 22 for this, and we will add that into the extra damage here. So we'll slap on that equal sign, pop to the end, and add in 22 damage for the bonus action there. Then we have reactions of Brutal Riposte. As a reaction to being hit with a melee attack, Sebrix can make a Force Maul attack against the attacker with advantage. Okay. Because you're only getting the advantage for the reaction, I'm not worried about getting that +1 to hit. It's not really going to do too much, and in the grand scheme of things, it's only that 1 attack out of all the attacks that we would do this, so it kind of works out to be less than 1. So for this, I'm just going to add in the extra bit of force damage here. So we'll add in 33 here for the Force Maul, so we're getting in an extra 81 total damage every round on top of everything else we're doing. And then lastly, we have the legendary actions. And we have 3 uses of legendary actions with the possibility of upwards of 2 more, I believe, or more. So I think it's max 5 at tops, but for the time being, we're just going to look at 3 just to see what happens here. Okay. First multi-attack is Force Maul strikes, and that is straightforward enough. We'll just take that times by 3 for 99 there. Then we have Psionic Might, costs 2 actions. Sebrix uses Telekinetic Grasp or Spellcasting. So this is where we could definitely throw in the spells here. So what did we have? Psionic Scream, Ravenous Void, and Blade of Disaster. Yeah, okay, so what was that here? Ravenous Void was 55 DPR. And since that's concentration, we could, in theory, set that up right in the beginning to do a whole bunch of damage. So I'm going to actually throw that in there and see what happens. We have, what was it? Telekinetic Grasp. So that is 60. Or we could do 55. And do 55 continuous because we're concentrating on that and, in theory, pulling targets into that. So that one would actually probably be handy to use on the first round of combat. Oh, 2 less legendary actions if he saves in that manner. Oh, I misread that. Okay, I thought it was +2. Yeah, it says regains 2 less. Oh, wait. Oh, the wording threw me off. He regains 2 less legendary actions. I just saw regains 2 and took it as, oh, he's getting 2 more legendary actions. Okay. So then, in theory, we would probably skip over Otherworldly Resilience, because you can only use that once since, well, in theory, I guess it could stack. And then you just have no legendary actions the next round. But that would be for really clutch spells that this needs to be done on. All right, thank you for the reminder there, Clorox. All right, so in theory, I would use, I would do the telekinetic grasp first. Oh, looks like my brother's playing Mini Motorways. All right, I lost my train of thought. Okay, telekinetic grasp is 60, but that doesn't have any lingering effects, so we would use, for sure, that Ravenous Void to set up on round 1, and then we could add that in every round. That could, actually, that's probably really good for round 1 with all the legendary actions. But for the sake of this, I'm going to just say, all right, we could do this plus this, giving us 93, which is slightly less than just a bunch of 4 small strikes. So at round 2 and after, I would use that for sure, the first legendary action of strikes. And then we have last Psychic Slam for 3 actions. Sebrix recharges or uses his Mind Break Slam. Okay. Being able to recharge and do that again is super helpful, provided you can set that up before the next round. That is 144 points of damage on average, so that actually would be worth, I think that would in theory be worth it. Let's see here. 144. Maybe not, actually. What is, let's see here. 192 or 193 plus, let's see here. This plus this. We're looking at 231. So just barely using the legendary actions to recharge Psychic Slam actually works out to be the better option here, just by raw average numbers. And it's only by a little bit here, which is funny and surprising. Okay, so we have that figured out. Let's jump into our first round of combat here. What would we do? So sure enough, round 1, we would go ahead and do the ground, or the what was it called? Mind Breaking Slam for 144, and then we would do 2 uses of the slam or the maul. So that was that, and then after that we would just say, all right, we're going to recharge the Psychic Slam again. So for round 3, we could go into that next. Although having that void set up might be the better option too. So let's do this a little bit differently. Let's see here. How would I have that set up? Yeah, we'll use this, and we'll use, actually, fix that real quick again. How would we go about doing that? Because if we use this here, then we can't do it. Yeah, all right, let's just see what this looks like regardless. So we'll do this. We'll do this here, and that will be, I'm getting confused again. Hold up. Yeah, I know. I hit, all right. So this one is, what is this again? That's that. And that one is just that times 4. And this is what? That plus that. Okay. I had a brain fart there for a minute. Oh yeah, no, okay. So this is actually the better route. It still is the better route, okay. Huh, all right. So first round then, we will go ahead and do the slam plus this times 2, which was just simply that there. And then for the legendary actions, we will go ahead and throw that in, right? Yeah, that's going to be a whole bunch of damage. Or no, we were going to do the spell casting. So we'll do this plus the 1 maul attack. So for round 1, this should be correct. We're looking at The ground or the mind breaking slam. I keep forgetting that. +2 maul attacks. Right? 4 small attacks. Yep. Then we would set up the Ravenous Void because it's concentration and in theory drawing the people in, which we can do every round of combat. And then we would have 1 more legendary maul attack. And then after that, we would go in for the, yeah, just 7 maul attacks, which is what this is. Plus we would have that set up, right? I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, okay. So 7 maul attacks. And I think that's pretty much it. So we can end that there. So right now, we are capped at CR 30. But I have a feeling that we are well over. So let's see here. Our average DPR is 419, which is much higher than the average DPR here. So I have to go down to my temporary adjusted chart for 419. And the DPR for 419 is where? Here. So that is in theory an OCR 35 base. Okay. So we have an OCR, let's take a note here, OCR of 35. And the attack bonus is 17, which is 3 over. So we're at +1, so this shifts to 36. Now the DCR is what? The DCR here, let's see here. Our average. Did I have any effective hit points? I think I put everything in. Yeah, I think that's all good. So let's see here. Our average effective hit points is 953. So we have to take a look at my extended chart here as well. The goal was for him to be around 33, 34-ish. Perfect. So this is probably right on. And I just totally lost track of where the... Okay, 953. We're looking for 953 down here. Okay, so 953 should land us roughly about here. And that is DCR 33. And at this point, I would think that the expected AC... it should be 20 at this point. So I generally bump up the expected AC from 19 to 20 past CR 30. So our effective AC is what? 28. We're expecting a 20. So that's 8 over. So that works out to be +4 bonus. So that goes up to 37. So then we average that all out. We get 36. Oh, we have a 37 here. All right. And then divide this by 2. Yeah, 36.5. So this boy works out to be a CR 37 roughly. Yeah, that's a beefy boy. A little bit over what you were expecting. I think do keep in mind that 3 of his immunities are not to non-magical damage, which these level 20 characters would have. Yes, for sure. So let's take a look at that. Let's get rid of the immunities, which I almost forgot to do. Okay. All right. So that bumps the DCR down, which is good. So our DCR drops to our effective hit points drops down to 766, which we can see here, and then that is it was 8, so it's now 9 over. It's still a +4 bonus. Or bump, so that goes from 29 to 30. 4 it would be 33. Okay, so 29 to 33. Yeah, definitely a planet killer for sure. Oh yeah, and then we work out to 69. Nice, and then with a result of 34.5 if we bypass immunities. So you're pretty close. You're 1 over the projected of 33 to 34. If you wanted to adjust that even further, maybe drop the hit dice down a couple. Like, let's say if we drop this down from 60 to, I don't know, let's try 55. 27. Nah, that's too much. So we'll go to 58 here. That's more what I was looking for. So 28 plus 4 would be 32. And then now you have yourself a CR 34 planet killer. There you go, Clorox. Pretty quick thing there. So I would say drop 2 hit dice down to 60 on average, which gives you a base 725 hit points. And then with the little bit of bonuses, it only goes up to 741 because you're expecting the players to bypass the immunity. So that's a chunky boy for sure. Thanks, Clorox, for sharing this massive, massive creature here. That was a good one. All right. Let's see here. Anything else? Did we need to cover anything else? I think that's everything going on here. There is one little thing that you may have or may not have noticed. Oops, gone too far. There's a new section on the tool, which will be going out in July. This right here is the new section on the tool. This is primarily a small little addition to the tool to allow anyone using spells like a bunch of the what was it, the sea hags that have that, you know, they can do that howl and then it just outright kills people. So now we can take this tool and figure out, you know, average hit points on the fly, because I used to have a little chart down here that said, oh, all right, you know, players would CR level 7, or, you know, excuse me, players that are average level 8 with a con bonus average of 2. The total group average should be like 61 hit points. Now we know if that scream that is supposed to outright kill a player should be doing on average 61 points of damage now. So if we change it to, let's say, we have an average group level of 15 and the con bonus is 4, then on average, excluding, you know, like, what is it? The Hill Dwarf bonus, racial bonus, and Draconic Sorcerers, and the 1 Tough Feat, excluding those, with average hit dice, you know, a player level 15 should have about 141 hit points. So, yeah, that's a little extra tool that I throw into the Elite, or the whatever version we're calling this one, the deluxe edition of this tool. So yeah, that's that, and yeah, that's pretty much all we got. If there's any other requests for monsters, maybe we can throw one quick one in, because I did start a little late. I was 15 minutes late because I wasn't paying attention to time. We could take a look at something quick here and go from there, if you all would like. If not, maybe we'll just cut this one a little early tonight. We'll see what happens. Oh man. Alright, let me check the studio here. Looks like everything's still good. Yep. What do I got here? Let's take a look at my tracker. What I got coming up in the pipeline. As for next week's monsters, here's the little preview for those that decide to actually watch this far into the live stream. We have oh, was there? I didn't see. Oh, thank you. Criosphinx from Amonkhet. All right. Yeah. All right, I see that. Cool. Let me take a look for that. Amonkhet. Okay. I gotta pull up my little side thing here. Perfect. Plane Shift Amonkhet. Okay. I gotta actually pull up that book. I don't have it ready. Books. Plane Shifts Amonkhet. There we go. And I'm looking for the Criosphinx. Doesn't look like I'll be able to find it too quick. Perfect. Ah, there we go. That was quicker than expected. Alright, so we have ourselves a Criosphinx that is, instead of a lion, we have a goat. That's cool. And thank you, Clorox, for reminding me about Clawpaw's request. I normally see it in the Discord. Didn't see it here because I was running late. Okay. Let me zoom in and we will take a look at this one here. Alright, Criosphinx, large monstrosity. Reset the tool and we'll take a look at this. Alright, we got an 18 AC. It is a large monstrosity and has, what is that, 24 D10 hit dice with a constitution bonus of 18. Should be CR 13. And moving down, we have no saving throws. We do have some skills. We have some damage resistances to bludgeon, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks. So we'll go ahead and pop that in. And then we have some immunities to psychic. We don't care about that because it's only one condition. And we'll move down into the monster traits. We have inscrutable. The Sphinx is immune to any effect that would sense its emotions or read its thoughts. Okay, so we can just skip over that one because it's not important. Not for the CR anyways, but it's important for flavor and for social encounters and whatnot. After that, we have magic weapons. The Sphinx weapons attacks are magical. That's just helping get past magic, resistances that the players might have or other monsters if they've teamed up with the Criosphinx. But again, doesn't really help us here. So we can move into the monster attacks and the legendary actions that it has. First, we have a multi-attack. The Sphinx makes a ram attack and 2 claw attacks. And these are both at +9 to hit, which is excellent to see. And then we go on to, let's see, we have, what do we got? For the ram, that's going to be 17.5 damage since it's an odd number of dice. And the claws are going to be 13 even because we have 2d8 there. And the multi-attack was 1 ram and 2 claw. So we have that plus the 13 times 2. For a total 43.5 for our multi-attacks. And then we have the legendary actions. The Sphinx can take 3 legendary actions from the following below, which is only 2, surprisingly enough. We have the ram attack. The Sphinx makes 1 ram attack, which would be, the 17? And we could do that, up to 3 times. So we'll just go ahead and multiply that by 3 for 52.5 damage. And then we can also teleport. Costs 2 actions. The Sphinx magically teleports along with any equipment it's wearing or carrying up to 120 feet to an unoccupied space it can see. So that is going to be similar to Thunderstep. Thunderstep is roughly 120 feet or so. So I'm going to say that is worth, not 33 DPR, but because it can do that amount of distance, I want something along those lines for effective DPR. So 27 effective DPR for Blink, maybe? I just gotta double check. Oh yeah, all right, so we want 27. That's perfect. So we'll go ahead and calculate or convert the 27 to effective hit points, and we'll find that that is worth 67. So the teleport is worth more than the basic ram attack, but because the ram attack itself can only be, the teleport can only be done once for 2 points. I would say 27 plus the, that isn't as great, but the effective hit points could really bounce us up more so than the damage could. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to see what this looks like as a basic ram attack for legendary actions. And then we can also take a look at it if we use the teleporting around all the time as well. So first off, we'll have our multi-attack, and then we'll also have our legendary actions here. And we'll do that every round of combat for a total CR of 15. Not surprised we are over the expected CR because a lot of printed monsters up until at least the Wilds of the Witchlight, or however that one goes. I cannot remember. I haven't looked at that book enough. The Wilds book there with Tasha. Most creatures aren't going to be even rated, unfortunately. So that is in itself already overrated, but let's remove resistances and see what happens there. No resistances bypassed. Now we have 13. So that's good. That's good to see. Now, we found this with bypassing resistances, which is excellent. So technically now the monster is even rated. Let's take a look at what would happen if we were to teleport around and also do one ram attack. So we'll do the 43.5 here, and on the side we'll add in 17.5 and the 67. So 67 there, and 17 here. Check those off, and still CR 13 after bypassing resistances. So that's good to see that with the bonus of the effective hit points of being able to move 120 feet away and then, come in and do the ram attack and the 2 claw attacks. In theory, we are still going to be seeing CR 13 here. So that's really cool to see. Hopefully Clawpaw will catch up here. I don't know where he's at, or where they're at, excuse me. So there you go, Clawpaw. Your Criosphinx is evenly rated once resistances are bypassed. Otherwise, if the resistance isn't bypassed and you have players running around without, magical attacks, we have CR 15 either way. Good to see. We just have, either we have a slightly more tanky Sphinx or a slightly more damaging Sphinx. Depends on how you want to go about it. Okay. It's getting late, and this has been fun. I'm extremely sorry that I ended up coming to the stream late. I got distracted, as I said, and totally misplaced what I was doing tonight. I'm going to have to set an alarm next time. So thank you all for joining. Clorox, My Favorite Songs TV, and Clawpaw. You all have been amazing, and thank you so much for putting up with me as I missed the live stream initial start time. Lots going on this week. And, thank you all. You've all been awesome to hang out and watch the live stream with me. Anyone else that's here that's just lurking and watching the live stream as well, you're awesome. Thanks for being here. And this is me, Andrew, as always, asking, are your encounters even rated? Let's see here. Great stream as usual, and thanks for looking at Sebrix's daunting stat block. Next week, my request is going to be for a Menyor Og Gith stat block I made. He's basically the leader of the Gith Sarai. Very cool. I like that. I might have to use that because one of my one player there, Krazid, as you may have saw from the player to the monster CR conversion, is a Gith Sarai. So that could be handy to have in there if he's looking for something. Max Lurk Knight, very awesome. Mr. Spazbomb, thank you for being here. You're awesome for hanging out and lurking. That's cool. I appreciate the lurkers. It helps out regardless. So again, thank you all for hanging out with me tonight, and I will see you all Monday for the last early thing. Yeah, because I have been on long vacations from work, doing long weekends. So this is going to be the last Monday Monster vs. Monster at 2 p.m. I may be switching that to 6 p.m. on Mondays when I get off of work, starting in July. I haven't quite set that up yet. I was thinking I might do it on Saturdays, but I think I really need to keep the Saturdays available. So I'm going to try and do the Monster vs. Monster on Monday nights at 6 when I get home. So it'll be a little later, and hopefully everyone can still make it, possibly. We was level 39 back in 2E. I made him CR 30. It'll be fun. Oh, for sure. Level 39 in 2nd edition. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Okay. He was level 39 in 2E. Man. I never got a chance to play 2E. Although I may have briefly as a kid. I don't remember. I have no idea what edition my friend was playing at that point. But we can just have a hangout and chat at some point later in the future. Anyways, thank you all again. I've got to get my butt to bed. I've got a whole bunch of chores to catch up on and then get right to bed because I've got a busy day tomorrow. Thank you all for joining, and I will see you Monday. All right. Have a good night, everyone, or good day, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you. Bye-bye.